So I just witnessed one of the most intense craft competitions I've ever seen. We just had 8 of Austin's best bartenders go through a craft competition where they crafted a Tom Collins riff using Empress Gin. And our panel of esteemed judges put them through the gauntlet. We had edible garnishes everywhere. We had a dry ice show. We had color-changing cocktails. But at the end of the day, there could only be one winner. Now, their submissions were brought up into 2 different parts. We had our written submissions, which you can view on our SpeedRailz online community. And then we had our in-person presentation, 25% and 75% respectively. We went in a reverse order from their qualifier rounds. So A seed became the first one to go, and then our first seed became the last A seed to go. So starting off with Mikey, the home competitor, out from Cabana Club. His cocktail was a beautiful EDM-inspired cocktail that had hibiscus and a reduction on the Montenegro syrup. Elderflower rose was very present. Only issue was, he only brought 1 glassware. And the competition rules very specifically stated that you had to make 3 separate cocktails for the judges. With that being said, let's take it over to them and see what they thought.
So I like the creativity, the flavor, the use of the foam. I think that not having adequate glassware for all of us, we were having to split it, pour it into cups. That's kind of ruining the whole aromatic of the drink when you put the foam on top and then you take it right up to your nose. The wash line we would want to be up here, obviously in the 16-ounce cup, it was way down here. So we didn't really get to experience any of that part of it. I would say that, it's not his fault because the glassware situation, but you brought up a good point, John. He does work here, so if anybody's gonna have a problem with this, it shouldn't be him.
So the next bartender that came up to deck was Oscar, aka ADHD Drinks. Now his emphasis was on keeping Austin weird with his cocktail, the Unicorn Tears. So it was a super bright pink, super heavy focus on grapefruit and Earl Grey, really leaning into the light citrus notes and the floral notes that a Tom Collins classic cocktail usually brings. It was super vibrant, maybe a little busy on the garnish, maybe a little too bitter with all the grapefruit and everything else. With that being said, let's take it over to the judges and see what they thought.
Yeah, so we got Oscar, who just came up and had a unicorn water. He's from Dean's Steakhouse, which actually is my favorite steakhouse in Austin, Texas. This definitely impressed us. It's very balanced, and especially when we're out in this Austin heat, this is a drink that I feel like I could crush constantly, or if I'm by the pool. It seems like across the table, we were all impressed here.
And then after that, we had Buta's very own Claudia coming off of Nate's Bar and Grill, not too far from where I'm at right now. Her cocktail was a beautiful riff that was inspired by the Lady Bird Lake and the sunsets. Super, super sweet, super light, something I would probably personally enjoy every single day of the week. But was it the most balanced Tom Collins riff? Let's take it over to the judges. Let's see what they thought.
So I think that you have to understand the concept of why the Tom Collins was born. It was one of the first cocktails back in the late 1800s. And after the Prohibition, and how it was born and how do we get it right now versus what was in the beginning. So this could be like one of the more basic and more accurate cocktails that you can get, but I don't think the contest here is what we want.
Yeah,
I think it's more about the creativity and what the other aspects that you can get, not just create the original.
that's the challenge, right? You're having this classic cocktail,
Yes.
but then you have to do a spin on it while keeping it classic.
Correct.
But still making it interesting.
Yes.
And that's why we're having the competition.
And after that, we had our bartender from Dallas, Kevin, a beautiful agua fresca style cocktail that had watermelon and mint, and it was this beautiful glass. Was it too far from a riff of a Tom Collins? Potentially, but it seemed like a really refreshing cocktail just looking at it. Let's take it to the judges. Let's see what they thought.
Kevin's drink was fantastic. I think that the only notes that we really had were just over garnishing with the mint and not having something to kind of clean your hands with on the watermelon. But flavor wise, crispness wise, cleanliness-wise, like kind of in your mouth, it was fantastic. I thought the color was beautiful, and he really did stay true to a Tom Collins because he didn't actually shake anything. He just poured the ingredients and stirred it, which is Tom Collins is generally served that way. So probably like 4.9 out of 5 for me.
And then coming up next, we had Connor from Alba. He created a beautiful University of Texas at Austin inspired cocktail, burnt orange, colors changing everywhere, dehydrated carrots, locally sourced from Trader Nick's. Everybody couldn't stop ranting and raving about it after they were done. So I'm gonna take it over to the judges and tell you what they thought.
We had a competitor make a very nice, bright, vibrant drink with carrot juice that they had made themselves. It looks like he put a lot of effort into it. Ginger, turmeric, nutmeg, cayenne, so it's got a little kick of spice. Fortified it with some citric acid, and then actually had a split-based cocktail to where he had the rosé Empress there, and then floated the indigo butterfly pea flower Empress. So it was good. He had some dehydrated carrot stick to kind of like stir it all together and incorporate it in. I like the drink. It was the least untraditional Tom Collins that we've had so far, but I like the fact that he did that and took the risk to create something a little different. All in all, I'll hold my score to myself and for everything else to be tabulated up, but very good cocktail, very thoughtful and good presentation.
And then coming up next, we had Rick with his cocktail, My Name is Tom Collins. You couldn't tell it was a Tom Collins at first. It was built in a champagne glass. It was totally fully carbonated. Judges didn't really know what to expect at the written portion. But when he showed up, he completely blew the roof off the place. Dry ice shows, lychee caviar, everything along those lines. Judges, take it away.
So Rick just went, and he owns Nunya Bar, which was taken over in East Austin, which I love because it's a sports bar that needed a little more soul, and he has it figured out. Everybody's loving that bar. So I'm happy he participated in this. And when it came out, it looked like it was like bottle service, but I also know it's not like a dive, but it's like a laid back sports bar. So it was like really cool to see him come out with something that looked like bottle service, but it wasn't taken too seriously, right? So we had this like Tom Collins mix that was like balanced and sweet, and super impressed me. It seemed like everybody here was impressed by it. The competition's really getting tight now. We only have 2 more left, but that one really, really stood out.
And then next up is SpeedRailz OG champion right here in Austin, and just a massive badass veteran. We had Emma. Emma had a beautifully written cocktail based off of one of her regulars in Austin that comes to her bars frequently. And so she had a really touching story, and it was a really beautiful cocktail. But did it turn out the way that she wanted it to? Let's take it to the judges and let's find out.
So for this last cocktail was Emma. For me was important that whatever they have written, it needs to reflect on what we had on the drink in front of us. Her cocktail's ingredient was completely different from the one that we had, which it changed the dynamic and it changed the perception for us as a judge that we had before and after. In some other cases was different, because in some other cases we thought it was less presentation. So in this case, I think she should stay with whatever she had before. So, but everything else, the flavor, everything was really good.
And then lastly, we had Nate. Now Nate's coming in, he's got a ton of full bartending experience. He really wanted to take Cabana Club's poolside venue advantage of it. And he came up with a very, very refreshing cucumber and lemon, and everything just worked out the way that it was supposed to. Was it maybe a bit too safe though? Let's take it to the judges and let's find out.
I think Nate's cocktail was incredible. I really liked the cute little presentation and like the little like cup, you know, with all the like little designs on it. I thought it was adorable. There were just a couple notes on just basically like the garnish game and how like putting the dehydrated fruit in actually helped the flavor versus keeping them off to the side. And no one else did that until I said that they should do it. So like, unless he tells you to do it, you're not gonna do it. But the creativity was great. The finish was great. There wasn't the cloying effect in my throat. And I thought the aroma was fantastic. That was probably the best smelling drink out of the whole presentation that we've done. But yeah, just a couple things here and there, and I think this would be a really great menu cocktail.
So I got a chance to review the written submissions, and I've gotten a chance to taste most of them myself. My personal favorites, I'll give you 3. I really liked Connor's tie-in to Empress Gin. He used 2 different Empress Gins, which might be a little interesting at first, but he really made it work out, and he used both the earthy elements of like carrot and ginger and mixed it in with the floral. And I can tell he really took notes from Wynn's like master seminar on Empress. I can tell he's a student of the game, and that one stood out to me honestly the most. I really thought Oscar's was super criminally underrated. It might have been a bit too bitter with the grapefruit, but I love the color changing, I love the motif, I love the connection he had to that cocktail and what the city of Austin meant to him, the concept of like being weird. And it was just a really pretty cocktail. It was a super bright pink, really took advantage of the color change that the indigo has. And then if he had gotten 3 glasses, I think he would have ran away with it. Mikey's cocktail was absolutely phenomenal. I'm a bit biased because I use music a lot when I do R&D for cocktails. And so it really resonated with me the way Mikey took his experience with like EDMs and raves and music and turned it into a cocktail. His written submission talked a lot about like using the elderflower rose as like the melody and like use the Montenegro as the bass, and it was like layers of music the way you would like build a song. So that one resonated with me on a personal level, but like I said, everybody did a fantastic job. So we ended up taking all the scores from the judges. Like I said earlier, 25% was their written portion, 75% was their in-person, and it's really cool to see what happened when we tallied up all the scores, because our first place winner had the weakest written submission, but he, like I said, he absolutely blew the roof off the place when he presented his cocktail, and that was Rick's My Name is Tom Collins. All the flavors matched up really well. It was really pretty to look at. He had visual with the dry ice show and a lot of interactivity, so it really worked out for him, and I can tell he really leaned on that. A bit of a risky strategy, but it worked out. And then shortly after that came our Dallas bartender, Kevin. Doesn't shock me, he comes from a long line of craft bartenders. Hyde, shout out, with Gabe and Alan, who were phenomenal in their own ways back in Dallas. And then in third place, we had Nate, who was our eventual best bartender in Austin when you took the overall portions, both the craft and the speed portion. And then rounding out the top half was Connor and his fantastic UC themed cocktail. Like I said, fantastic job, guys. SpeedRailz, a constantly evolving concept, is introducing craft where a lot of these bartenders only think about the speed portion, only think about the high volume concept. And so we're constantly layering different levels on top of each other. And if you want to catch all of the latest evolutions and trends, you can check out our online community over at SpeedRailz. It's the link in the bio, and we're constantly coming up with new concepts, new ideas, cutting edge trends, things along those lines. So now we're looking to highlight those in our community that are killing the game, that are our industry leaders, those that are on the cutting edge of all these different trends, and highlight them using our Rails hospitality channel. And with that, we're constantly looking for creators, bartenders, venues, event coordinators, anybody who is just looking for the next big event, and we're looking to coordinate and collaborate with you guys. Iron sharpens iron, so we're looking to hear from y'all, and I'm sure y'all are looking to hear from us, so check out our online community.